It's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, joined once again by the 5'1" of the world, Jules
I feel like I should be like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
Hello.
from Chicago, which I will be in a couple days.
You will, in fact, be in Chicago in a couple days.
So alert the National Guard and the State Police. All right. So we have the Chicago Auto Show happening in a couple days. It kicks off on Wednesday. Today is Monday, February 6th. And just a public service announcement. I just want everybody to know that I did not shoot down the Chinese spy balloon. It was not me.
Yeah, because you couldn't hit it. You've got bad aim.
What a strange story. And I just heard tonight on the news that they found 4 more balloons. Like 3 during Trump administration, 1 during Biden's administration. Like, are we not looking up? I just don't understand.
Nobody looks up.
Nobody looks up. Don't look up. Don't do it.
I mean, come on. In all of the spy movies, where do the people who are trying to escape go? They go up. They're on the ceiling. Nobody looks up.
Well, I guarantee you one thing: we are looking up here at Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, looking at the newest stuff going out. A couple of quick comments. The highlight. So, the common sense guy wants to know. I want to know when the Ram 1500 twin turbo would be out. He's talking about the Hurricane. I'm going to say not this year. I'm going to say 2025 when they redo something else. Production spec BEV Ram Revolution could be sometime this fall. I
think we'll see the production spec in the fall. I think we know that, or at least they've said that, but they changed their mind. So I do think Ram Revolution BEV will be fall. I'm anticipating LA Auto Show.
Yeah, I think so. Gene says I heard they use yards to take it down. It's yard darts. They have those big spiky things to them. All right. Do you think Ram will unveil a Ram Dakota? Let me ask that question because it was so on point from Steven Alexander. I have to tell you something. This weekend I did a really strange weekend. I had a baptism. An hour later, we had a celebration of life ceremony. So crazy things, and we're in the church having sandwiches and whatever, potato chips, or the deal. I got so I go through the line, and this gentleman who's probably in his late 70s looks at me in the line, and he's like, "It's fine." Looking at me, you get the awkward thing. Somebody looks at you, and you can kind of still looking at you, but you don't want to say anything because I don't know this guy at all,
right?
And then I throw my plate away, and he gives me the finger, like, "Come over here." He's like, "Are you on YouTube?" So yes, I got recognized at basically a life celebration for an uncle of ours that passed away, and he said to me, and I'm getting to your point. I'm getting to the point of your question here, Stephen. He said to me, he goes, "You have to promise you one thing, Tim." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "You need to stop with the speculation videos on the Ram Dakota. Nobody knows a damn thing. It's all guesses at this point."
It is.
And I'm like, "All right, I'm not gonna do anything." Your teammate's here.
I know. Hi, Kristen. We were actually literally just talking about you before we went online.
Yeah, Kristen Van Shaw. If you don't remember, Jill did the Rebel Rally with Kristen, and so they're talking about some new updates happening to that. There's lots of behind the scenes going on. So, let's flip back to the Chicago Auto Show. I just had to tell you the story about the Ram Dakota because that was cracking me up. He was serious too. He's like, "You need to stop speculating the Ram Dakota. It's not coming.
It's not coming." Yeah, we posted a web story last week that there are rumors circulating ... again, and we will keep having rumors circulating again.
Yeah,
and it will probably never happen, even though I think it should.
And behind the scenes, Jill's like, "Should we post this?" I'm like, "Yes." I'm like, it keeps coming up, and it's just like you can't not post about the Ram Dakota. It just happens. People want to talk about this stuff. So, anyways, so what are we going to see in the Chicago Auto Show? We're going to see a couple things. Let's get this off. Toyota. I was reminded today is a 3-syllable word. Toyota.
How are you saying it?
Toyota. I get excited. I go fast. I skip the
Toyota. That's kind of like Nollins. Toyota.
Yeah. I just go fast. It's just Anyway, Grand Highlander is coming out, which. Let's see. We kind of know the information on it, so I'm not going to speculate too much about that. But basically,
I have not read any of the stuff.
Oh, you haven't read, so you can talk about it. So, Grand Highlander. What's that lead you to believe, Jill?
It leads me to believe it's going to be a slightly larger version of the wait for it, Highlander. I know, quite kind of a crazy thing. We ran a story on that on the website last week as well, because since the Grand Highlander is going to be revealed this week, of course, Toyota has to start putting out its teasers, and so we have a teaser of the third row.
You know what? I can do that for the audience. For those listening, those in the live stream, you can see this image. For those in the podcast, well, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So if you scroll down, I did it. Wow. I did the image on there twice so that you could see. I figured that's going to be the way our website is set up. So this is the image of the third row of the Grand Highlander, and like I think the press release was a whole 110 words or 112 words. It was all about this photo, and but the gist is, they're saying this is going to be a third row that adults will be comfortable in. And I posted it. And of course, one of the comments on the web story is, well, look at where the adults' feet are. Does this mean that the second row is then going to have severely compromised leg room because it has to be in the far forward position? Well, we don't know until we see it.
Oh yeah. So basically, it was, for those on the podcast, you basically have Grandpa. Looks like Grandpa sitting in the back with a granddaughter. And then Dad, because it kind of look the face looks like the same. I'm taking that as Dad is getting a child out of he's not a toddler. He's a little bit older than a toddler. He's in the booster seat, and so the question is, looks like it's a sliding second row seat. So I could see where if you can compromise the space. But I would point out, Jill, he has his phone plugged in and charging. So
he does. And I don't think you can blow that photo up at all, but that looks like a really interesting kind of a docking station that they've got, because most times you plug it in straight, and this one looks like it's kind of plugged down into something. I had said in the article I couldn't see the air vents, but somebody pointed out that there's a light over the rear window, and it looks like the air vents are on the back of the light module thing. But if you look like also around the where the cup holders are and things, it looks like there's like a lot of space, not just for cups, but to store. He's got his like an iPad or a tablet in there, so it looks like there's space to like put some cubby things. So I'm gonna be very curious about this third row. And I actually told Tim, I'm like, we need to figure out what exactly the competitors of this vehicle are, because it's a little bit bigger than the Grand Highlander. So, I mean, we're not looking in suburban territory here, but I want to figure out like exactly what the key competitors are. And I want to do a third row vehicle or a third row video, looking like comparing the Grand Highlander third row, since they made such a big deal about it, to its competitors and see how it really stacks up. And I know we also, in addition, as well too, grammatically incorrect transition here, want to look at this versus the Sequoia, because the Sequoia is bigger than the Grand Highlander, but I think that there's going to be some interesting.
Well, I think our theory is it's bigger, but do we know?
Fair. We don't have the specs yet. At least I haven't seen the specs yet. I don't know if you've seen the specs yet. But I honestly, I don't know. I'm making the assumption the Sequoia is bigger, because Sequoia is body on frame, but I believe Highlander is still going to be like the Grand Highlander, like the Highlander is not body on frame. It's a unibody construction.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. So people are saying Explorer or Telluride. They're saying Traverse, Explorer, Grand Cherokee L. Grand Cherokee L is an interesting one. Dave's here from All Train Nation. Automotive Press is on right now. Congrats to David over there. Or what's the guy's name again? Anyways, so it's going to be interesting what's going to happen with that. I'm not sure. Vince is here from Detroit. So I wonder, though, about how much we're making a big deal about the third rows and these SUVs. Does it really matter? I know it matters to people like Jill, who got stuffed in the third row when she was a kid. But I wonder.
Or in the middle seat. I would love to have had the third row to myself. I was like stuck or on the floor. And the time before they made you wear your seatbelt when you were sitting in the back seat, my sisters would be like, "Oh, Jill, look at this big floor. Don't you want to sit there instead for 10 hours?" Yeah.
Hey, Dave gets $5 for pre-whiskey fun for Chicago Auto Show. We'll see Dave and Kelly there at the show. I was warned Dave's going to be there. I said hi to Kelly. I'm excited about Kelly, but I'm warned about Dave. So things coming down. But yeah, it's really interesting about this third row battle these days. It's a lot of third row battles. I don't know. It's interesting. And fortunately for this channel, we have Jill, who is literally the expert on the third row seating.
Yeah, because I am the size of the person they intend to put back there.
Yeah.
I'm 5 feet tall. I weigh 95 pounds. And yeah, I'm the size of a 10-year-old. But yeah, and so as my partner Kristen points out, it matters because it's such a hot segment. People think they need more seats. Yeah, they do. They think they do. But here's the thing about a third row. Even if they don't need the seats, they can put that third row down, and then you've got all the extra cargo room, and then you have the third row just in case.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I'm gonna put a shout out here to your friend and colleague Kristen. Kristen, I know you're watching this. Would you go ahead and hop on your Facebook Messenger if you have time? I'll send you a link. You can hop on with us live.
If you would like, if you're available.
Yeah,
if you have your lipstick on.
Even yeah. So it's in your Facebook Messenger there, Kristen. So let's move along. You are doing some stuff with a globe thing, Atlas thing, Globey thing. What's up with that?
Oh, the Atlas Cross Sport Cross. I always forget that mixed up. They're doing a reveal of the. I think it's maybe refreshed. I don't think it's completely redesigned, but it'll be a significant refresh. And they're doing a reveal at the Chicago Auto Show. It's an offsite reveal. So while Tim is interviewing his man crush at 3:30, Mike Koval, in case you didn't know who that was. So while he is doing that interview at 3:30, I will be in another location checking out the reveal of the Volkswagen Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport. I think it's Cross Sport.
Yeah.
So
those don't know the Atlas. I want hold on. I'm sorry for 1 second. Vince says third row requires a longer wheelbase, lots of advantages over just seating. So interesting point on third row. I agree. Ride dynamics could be a little bit better. But the Atlas and Atlas Cross, those are 2-row.
Atlas is 3-row, and then the Cross Sport is 2-row.
So we have another third row SUV going. This is crazy.
But I think that the Atlas is more the size of like the Highlander than it is the Grand Highlander.
So yeah, so we will know how tiny the seating is back there. I feel like you did a video recently. I don't remember which video I edited with you. And you talked about the middle seat being ridiculous. Was that the Mazda CX-90? Because they wanted to fit 3 in the back of the third row, and I think you made the comment that middle seat was just.
You didn't
have enough shoulder room for yourself, 3 across.
We've done the same thing, like in the Hyundai Palisade. Where I've like sat me next to me. Like some of these, like I don't know, like they're looking to get somebody smaller than me. In the third row, like side by side.
Speaking of being in a car, look at Kristen.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm in a Volvo. It's a 3-row Volvo.
Are you sitting in the third row right now? No.
No, I'm up front. My son's in basketball practice, so I was just writing an article.
You're writing an article in the car.
I am.
In the dark, by the way.
In the dark, yes.
You
have this really interesting Metallica like vibe to your head right now, like you're.
Mamma mia, mamma mia.
Well, it's like the what is it? The Conan O'Brien when he used to do in the year 2000, and he would like shine the light on his face. That kind of what. It's kind of like I was going to do the flashlight thing here, but I'm too bright. It won't have this effect. But yeah, that's you have like the in the year 2000. Yeah, that. Kind of
okay, so the $1 million question: have you been in the third row yet?
Yes.
Okay, and you said it's a Volvo. Is it the XC90?
Yes.
It's a big one. So the third row in the XC90 is awesome. Terrible.
It's fine.
It's fine. Oh damn! I know women tell me things are fine.
That for her. I think. I mean, you know what? I've not driven the XC90 for a while, but I seem to recall there are not a lot of amenities back there.
No, actually there is a USB-C port back there for each person. So that's nice. It's not bad. I mean, I've definitely seen smaller third rows, and it's pretty easy to put the seats up and then put them down. So it's useful. I mean, if you want to haul your kids around with all their buddies, it's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
The just in case seats.
Exactly.
And Tyler, who's a fan of the channel, who's definitely seen more of Jill's videos, third row seats. He says Jill jumping, hoping the headrest third row are good. So we did the Sequoia, and Jill almost fell out of the vehicle testing out third row.
Oh no, that was actually the cargo space that I almost
she's in the cargo, and then she's like trying to crawl over, whatever.
Oh
you're trying to crawl over. Yeah, you're trying to, and then all of a sudden, I'm filming. All of a sudden,
like, I almost rolled right out the vehicle, out of the open door, because I like climbed from the cargo area into the third row, and then like hit my shoulder and started rolling, and like landed on my head and almost like kerthunked out the side. And I'm like laughing hysterically, and I'm like, "Don't mind me, I'm okay." I think Tyler is probably referring to the Infinity / Nissan Pathfinder headrests, where they take your head and go like this.
Oh, yes.
The most hideous third row seats that I have ever, headrests that I have ever seen, like ever. Exactly. Like who is going to sit back there? Somebody who doesn't have a head, that's who.
Tiny people.
Yes, the Headless Horseman. General Motors Jeff will be there next week in Chicago. We'll make sure to check out Jeff. And Vince is saying that third row was never an issue when minivans ruled the road. And I agree, but then we had to drive minivans. So,
So, I mean, speaking of minivans, the reason why minivans, I think, are a great choice for a third row and for families is, most minivans have that deep well in the cargo area so that you can stack luggage, strollers, like more stuff. So even though the space is narrow, like it's very deep and very stackable. So I'm going to be very curious how Grand Highlander handles cargo space. And is it just like a little extra inch, or are they going to have some like deep stuff?
That's a question for Kristen. So Kristen, there's a lot of conversations about the Sequoia's third row cargo area with their apparatus system. We didn't fold flat, you did this kind of deal. So where are you at? Do you want the movable shelving like Nissan? I think Nissan had one as well. Or do you just want flat loading floor, no shelves?
Actually, I like the shelf, and I got my dad's 2009 Chevy HHR SS over the summer, and it has a similar shelf thing, and I find it to be really useful because it covers, it gives you some security for the stuff that's underneath. But then also you have more layers to put, because you don't use a lot of big stuff typically. It's little stuff that you're putting in the back.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm Italian. I talk with my hands like Jill.
Yeah, I know. I put little Jills in the back too. It's fine. It's a little slow. All right, so you're a fan of that system. I'm going to be very curious about the Grand Highlander on whether or not we have a better cargo, flat loading floor cargo, which is the big complaint with Sequoia, or if we have more of a stackable system. All right, so we talked VW Atlas. We talked that. So we talked to I don't know. You want to talk about Jeep or Subaru?
I think we need to talk about Hyundai.
We want to, Hyundai. So you got.
So Jean asked if Sandy would be at the Chicago Auto Show, and I think we're allowed to say yes.
I think.
Shh.
Come
see that.
Back up. Hot. So let's talk about.
I don't know that we can talk about anything else, but we do know that our Rebel truck that we drove last year will be on display at the Chicago Auto Show.
Okay, so your pickup will be there. So
wait, you just called it a pickup?
I was gonna call it a trucklet, but I know
trucklet.
You call it a truck, and I was like, I can't call a thing a truck. Pickup's as far as I'm gonna go with that thing. So for those who don't know, Jill and Kristen spent how many days in the desert?
A lot.
One day too long.
Like 10. I've counted those days down. 10.
And you got Blaster on the desert. So you guys competed in a Rebel rally, and we're gonna see maybe the Sandy will be on display. We'll see how much carnage you did to the side, because I was gonna ask you this. You guys didn't really say in the video we put out. So who got stuck the most? Jill got stuck the most.
Definitely said me. It was absolutely me. I'm the problem. It's me.
So I was curious about this, not to get off track, but now looking back, so the Rebel Rally was in October, November,
Yep, October.
October. So looking back now, do you think one of you stood out more? So people understand this is the Rebel Rally is a 2-person women's navigation only rally. You do not get GPS, you don't get your phones, that's all taken away. You have to use a compass, use a map, and you have to kind of figure out your location. So
yeah, I had to even get rid of my Apple Watch in favor of this lovely old Time
right.
Timex.
Timex. So, I mean, that's the situation with the Rebel Rally, but typically teams choose a driver or a navigator and they don't switch because you tend to get good at one or good at the other or whatever. You guys switched back and forth. And reflecting back on that time, do you think you made the right choice going back and forth, or do you think that was not the right choice?
I think that was the right choice for our rookie year, absolutely, because now we understand both roles.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we both love to drive.
Yeah. I mean, the best thing was, though, if we had a bad day, either while driving or navigating, it was like, your turn. You get this shitty roll tomorrow. Have at it.
Yeah, say good
you
news,
get to go get us lost tomorrow. Have fun.
I'm navigating tomorrow. You'll be all right. It was a good switch.
So if you guys decide to do the Rebel Rally again, would you decide to not switch?
That's embargoed.
And also, I mean, like, we had the conversations directly after Rebel, and we have some thoughts.
Yeah, some thoughts.
TBD. We have some thoughts.
Okay, because I was talking with Jill before she did that event, obviously, back and forth, and I didn't know. I thought maybe it'd be wise to have one person only, but I don't know. I had no idea what it would turn out to be. It's just kind of curious.
I can see the advantages of both. Like I said, it was really nice when you had a bad day to be like, your turn, have at it. But I think there's the potential to have less bad days the more immersed in whatever it is that you're doing.
Okay.
And I will say the only time we got stuck was in sand, and I did the most driving in sand. So I don't know if that makes me a bad driver. It just makes me somebody who can't drive in sand.
I was like, I got my pen and paper. Where are we going with this, Jill?
Yeah.
There were some great trails where we were like almost up on rails, like a roller coaster, like taking it sideways. That was fun.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun in that truck. It was so much more capable than I think we thought it was going to be. And I think it's even more capable than we thought it was going to be. So, one of the things that I know, so there was a team of women who were in the Kia Sportage, which is has a similar powertrain and build to the Santa Cruz, and they actually went and spent time with like the engineers at the Kia Proving Grounds. There's a really great video on it. I can't remember where that showed up, but if you're curious, it's out there. Just you can search for it. But they went to the Proving Grounds, and I was just like, I want that. So if we do it again, we are putting in a strong request to do something like that, because I feel like we probably could have pushed the Santa Cruz harder than we did. But we just didn't know. We didn't want to hurt the truck.
Yeah, I think you and I had the same conversation. We had a conversation along those lines where you kind of pointed out to me that dudes would have pushed that truck and launched it, and who cares if it broke, whatever. But for you, and I'm not going to assume Kristen, but for you, it was more about, I don't want to break it. I got to be more careful. And that's something that happens with, like, we get so many press vehicles that if it's a press vehicle, you don't want to be that person that breaks the press vehicle, because what happens here is not about you. It's about that vehicle scheduled for 6 other people down the line, or 8 people, whatever, 10 people. And so if you break it, you just screwed over 8 or 10 more people, right? So you don't want to be that guy that does that, but you want to test it too, because if you don't get out there and actually do something with it, you don't get the views on Facebook, YouTube, all kind of stuff. So this continual game between playing nice and, well, sending it full send. So Kristen, did you feel like you were a little bit like nervous about full send with the Santa Cruz, or did you feel like you were okay to push it?
I'd say we pushed it pretty hard in a lot of situations, but one of our goals was to finish.
Yeah, because if you break the truck, you can't finish.
Yeah, you can't break the truck and still finish. There's just not enough time. So I think we pushed it. I mean, there's definitely some areas where we pushed it pretty hard, and people be like, Santa Cruz can't do that. Oh yeah, it can. It
Yeah,
can.
there was one little, and I have no idea which one of us did it, but there is definitely a mark somewhere on the vehicle. We'll leave it for people going to the Chicago Auto Show to find. And we didn't even see it until we were done. And the engineer was like, "Oh, what happened here?" And we're like, "I have no idea. No idea. There was a rock that was in our way somewhere."
There you go, folks. With the Chicago Auto Show, you got to find the mark.
Yep.
You guys, I gotta go. I'm gonna pick up my son, and then I gotta go pick up my parents from the airport. So thanks for inviting me on for a few minutes.
Thank you for showing up. And we, I have to talk to you about some Chicago Auto Show stuff tomorrow.
Sweet. Bye, guys.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Have a good night. Okay, so getting back to the list, that was good. Jeep Wrangler's got a few special editions. Do we expect Jeep Wrangler to have a special color? Isn't that the deal these days? Special editions have special colors. I feel like Jeep does it. I feel like Stellantis, not the drug, the automotive company, does it a lot where they do special colors and different versions. So I am curious about you guys' thoughts on this. Do you guys, when you're shopping for a vehicle and you see a special edition, is that more interesting to you because it's a special edition than it would be the base edition? Do you actually spend more money on that? Are you excited for that? I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting thought. Deep thoughts with Tim as Jill sips her wine.
I know. I'm reading the comments. Sorry, I'm distracted.
So the Jeep Wrangler will have some special editions. The Ram BEV Revolution concept will be there. I don't hear any news from General Motors at all. Nothing there. Ford's got the Mustang that we saw in Detroit, and it's got the car thing. Yeah, but it's got Super Duty and the Broncos. So there's nothing really going on there. Subaru Crosstrek.
Yep.
You're doing that one, I believe, for us. I don't know. Yeah. So
next generation, all new. I haven't. They haven't released any material yet, so I feel pretty confident in saying I know nothing. I just know that it's all new for 2024, and it'll be revealed at the Chicago show.
I don't recall the Crosstrek. Refresh my memory. It's the smallest. It's a compact SUV.
Yes.
It's the smallest one they do, right? Is it kind of off-roady? Yeah, off-roady kind of small.
Yeah,
SUV.
I mean, I was gonna say all-wheel drive, but duh, all Subarus except for BRZ are all-wheel drive. But it's I want to say because you have the Impreza wagon, it's bigger than that, but it's not as big as like the Outback. So it's definitely an SUV, a little bit more raised. And yeah, so I love the Crosstrek. I think it's actually a really great vehicle. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it.
Okay. So, I mean, that's basically what we're looking forward to from Chicago. I don't, a little bit lighter show than we've had in years prior, but that's because the game has changed so much over the years with auto shows and such. And so we have 5 videos we're going to shoot. Plus I interviewed my man crush. There's 6 videos. And so we have lots of stuff going on. And I'm going to ask my man crush several times about where the hell is the range extended version of the Ram Revolution? Because Jill and I have gotten so much confusing information on that. We don't really know.
I think you also need to slip in something about the Dakota.
I've asked about Dakota many times.
But do it again.
I don't do it again. People
do it again.
Do it again. So we'll talk Ram BEV. We'll talk about range extender because we're confused. So let me explain the backstory on this. We're confused on whether there's going to be one or not because we've got conflicting quotes from executives from Ram and from Stellantis. And then we do not have a confirmation from the Ram PR team confirming one way or the other. So that's why we're a little confused.
No, and they keep saying, we've seen, I think, Green Car Reports and EV Pulse are the 2 publications that have gotten Mike Koval to say there's going to be a range extended version of the truck. Everybody else, and I mean the Motor Trends and Car and Trucks of the world, are referring to those 2 publications when they talk about it. So I've gone to Ram and I'm like, can you just like say yes or no? And they're like, more to come. And I'm like, that's not a yes or a no.
Yeah. So we actually, I wasn't really interested in interviewing my man crush very much, but because it's been such a conversation back and forth, I just have to ask him point blank. I've got the bottom of it because it's so confusing to me. And I don't mind if they say it's coming. That's fine. I mean, we've heard that speculation for years. Not a big deal. but I need to know one way or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, and also with regard to Brian D wants to also know about the Dakota. I think with regard to that, Koval, your man crush, did at some point say to, and I can't remember who he said it to. I think we have it in one of our articles though. He did say that they were going to be releasing, and I would specifically ask him about this quote, so I'll have to find it for you. But he said specifically that to somebody that they were going to release a compact truck concept to the dealers in March of this year, aka next month, and see what they thought about it. And if they thought it was a good idea, then maybe they would build it. So I want him to talk about that with regard to the Dakota. Yes? No?
Okay, sorry, I was doing.
I'm like distracted. Can you hear me? Am I speaking into the ether?
I muted it for a second. So I had to go over to our YouTube channel. I wanted to do something real fast. I wanted to say a good thumbs up to one of our people that is always on, and Todd Dombreski is now a moderator of our comments on the YouTube live streams. Sorry, I want to make sure Todd, because Todd is Mr. Cat Guy in Minnesota, who I think is Minnesota, and he
where it's like so below 15 degrees this week.
Yeah, so I want to make sure. I noticed he didn't have the wrench next to his name, so I want to make sure he gets a wrench because I'm a big fan. He's been really helpful for live streams. I want to give him. So sorry, I didn't mean to mute you. I don't ever mute you on purpose. I just happen to.
Yeah, you do.
Need to go over and take care of
business.
Yeah,
you do. I know that.
Yeah. So with that, let's. So Todd wants to know what is the best city slicker medium truck. So medium is like a compact or midsize. City slicker truck would be Ridgeline for sure. Ridgeline Maverick would be Maverick. I will tell you, I was at again the Celebration of Life and talking to the gentleman who recognized me, and he said he goes, I would buy a Maverick tomorrow if they had one. We were talking about how useful the Maverick is around the farm, and how he's like, yeah, he goes, ranchers would use this, and he goes, my son, he says, see that red one over there? I said, yeah. He goes, that's my son-in-law. He actually went and bought one or whatever. And that's his. If I could buy one, I'd buy one. And so, so I will tell you, the Maverick is catching on for a lot of people. And I told him a story. Did I tell you this story?
Was it about your wife when she saw it out the window and with her girlfriend while having dinner? And
yeah, they
like, said she would be laughed out of the state of Nebraska if she bought one. Is that story or a different story?
There's another story. That's also a funny story. I was in Nashville doing a Maverick national launch, which means they go there and they do the launch, whatever. And these two engineers walked over and sheepishly they're like, so we were told to come talk to you. And I'm like, really? Why? And they're like, well, apparently you have a pretty good knowledge in the truck market. We need to talk to you. Okay, so we talked to these guys a little bit. And I said, look, this is a great runabout truck for a farm. And you can go out and you can feed the cattle and you can do all-wheel drive. You can get around the car, whatever. You don't need to fire the big diesel to do this stuff. And I said, this is a great competitor to side-by-sides. Because side-by-sides, if you get the doors and the heat and the air conditioning, they run about $30,000. They're expensive. This Maverick runs about $20,000 if you buy the cheap edition version of it, and you get you can drive to town, you can drive a road trip, you can get lots of stuff. So, let's go. This is great competitor to side-by-sides. The following morning, I'm having breakfast, and one of the engineers walks up to me, and he goes, you destroyed my morning. What do you mean I destroyed your morning? He says, all I did this morning was look up what a side-by-side was. I'm like, you're freaking Ford. You know what a side-by-side is? Like, hello? And then I realized that not everybody at Ford is a Ford Blue True. I mean, these are engineers, they're normal people. And he had no idea what side-by-side was.
Wait, engineers are normal?
Kidding. Yeah, so.
They're as normal as journalists are.
Elliot, I think Elliot wants to know, the Ridgeline has existed for years. Why the love for the Maverick? I think the Maverick's smaller size. I think the Ridgeline was a smaller size. It would have done really well. They just didn't. Nobody foresaw, in my view, the compact truck market needing something in there. I think for a while we talked about it online. Jill and I have had live streams talk about something being smaller than the Colorado and small. We've talked about it, but now the Maverick came out, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, wait, wow, wait, well, oh, maybe this smaller size actually makes sense. And it's like, yeah, you can't. We talked a lot where you can't. 3/4 tons in my areas, they always take the beds off because they can't use the beds anymore because it's too tall. And so there's some practical sides to having a smaller truck. Ford Video Guys here. I want to point out to him. He says, "I'm glad I caught your live with Tim. This is a great channel. Enjoy the discussion." So thank you for that. I always love that stuff. Better than the one guy last week. He's like, "I hate you guys, and you guys are becoming dumbasses."
He's like, "I'm watching you anyway, but I don't like you." And I'm like, "Why are you watching us then?"
Ask you, if you guys don't like me and don't like Jill, whatever, you don't have to comment.
You hurt my feelings, and then I'm gonna go cry.
I don't know why people do this.
I'm
They
really
just
not,
like,
actually. I have very
dagger
thick
you
skin.
and say, "I hate your," I was like, come on, guys. You know how many comments we get? Like literally, I saw my uncle we were at the bar this weekend. I was like, check out some of these comments, and he's just like, oh my god, neither of them around. I'm like, yes. Yeah. So
I
engineers
really
aren't
still
this.
think we need to do a live stream at some point where we read comments from like our social media, like whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, whatever. I just think that would be very funny.
You know what? We might be able to do that. Let me see.
I think that would be funny. I mean, I
It's kind of like it's
the
like,
range of comments and about like my personal appearance, and like I go from being somebody's celebrity crush to being like, why don't you go wear makeup? And I'm like, thank you. I don't know.
yeah, it's so weird. So let's go to my comments real fast, or the comments on the YouTube channel real fast. Actually, what was that? Jill's unfortunate. Her TikTok stuff is pretty bad.
It's funny, and I always like have a comment back. Like if you're gonna insult me, if one of my viewers, followers doesn't like put you down, like I will come in and I will comment. But it's just like, people are like, why is this video even made? And I'm like, why was this comment left? And I'm like, I don't know. You answer, you answer one question, you answer them all. I have nothing.
So he says, first comment says on the Kia Telluride and Hyundai Palisade. So Jill and I did this combo video, and I didn't realize at the time, but a snowstorm came through, and the Hyundai Palisade wipers are below the hood. Did I tell you right?
You had the Telluride. I had the Palisade.
Right. The Telluride wipers are below the hood, and so you can't just lift them up. And people are like, well, you dumbass, Tim. You just you click the button and you turn on the wiper service mode. They go up, and then you clean off the windshield. And I'm like, that's great until your wipers are frozen to the windshield, and you can't get them out. So, and then I'm like, all right, so you're gonna turn it on. You're going to scrape a little bit, get the wipers as free as you can. You go inside the vehicle, you turn on the service mode, you go back outside, you get them free even more, you scrape even more, and you come back to the vehicle, you turn them back out the service mode, you hop back in. I'm sorry, but that's freaking dumb. And everybody I've ever talked to about this has said the same thing. They're like, that is just freaking dumb. And he's like, I'm not sure why you're picking the semi-recessed wipers as the hill you're willing to die on, but give it a rest. Likely done as a compromise for a small percentage point of fuel economy improvement by reducing aerodynamic drag. Bull. Not because the engineer didn't go through winter testing. That's bull. I mean, you're going to tell me that a windshield wiper is going to increase fuel economy by enough of a deal to put them underneath the hood. And he says owners of the vehicle are going to run into this issue one time when they learn to put their wipers up, whether before a snowstorm rolls in or to change the wipers. That's bull too.
No, that I agree. Owners are going to figure that SHIT out. But I mean, where is it? Obviously we don't go through dealer education, but it's like, so in Chicago, a lot of people park on the street, and when a snowstorm is coming through, people put their windshield wipers up.
Right, because you can. So you could do that if you know beforehand. But a lot of time, let's say you're flying somewhere and you park outside and you come back and all of a sudden windshield wipers are frozen, or you get a freak storm moves through, or you're out of town for a couple of days, you come back. I mean, there's a variety of reasons, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. I think it's just dumb. I don't care if it's for additional mile per gallon. I just feel like engineering wanted to get a little too cute with that, and there's better solutions than just doing that. This is a good question for Jill. I was looking at this a little bit. So Jill and I have been discussing this sliding camper issue with the Chevy Silverado, and she has done about 17 emails now, I think, total, back and forth. And I don't believe you still have a straight answer. Look at this answer. He says, hello, I'm also from Nebraska. So here's what I found out researching for many months about the sliding camper for the Chevy Silverado. Let me back up for a minute. If you don't know the story, the Chevy Silverado half-ton, there are certain models that allow you to have a sliding camper, certain models don't allow you to have a sliding camper. But you can't always tell before you go to order it from the dealer because there's no option, there's no button, there's no thing you can click that allows you to really know. It's kind of a guessing game. And so he says, if you want to put a sliding camper at half ton, you either have to go work, truck, or custom. It has to do with if you load up your truck with options, your payload rating goes down, which we've talked to General Motors. They say the payload rating is a problem. So if you get a custom or work truck with little or no options, then your payload rating goes up. Makes sense. But if you have a work truck with a 5.3 liter, then you cannot haul as much because the truck is heavier with that motor than a 2.7 liter 4v4. If you want to tow 9,500 pounds of V8 compared to 9,000 pounds of V8, Jesus, it just goes back and forth. But what we have learned, though,
what the gist is,
what the gist is this: what we have learned, and I think the basic thing we've learned is, if you do not get the longer bed, you cannot do a sliding camper.
Yeah, and I think
so no matter what, that's the first thing.
Yeah, well, the last question I have to GM that I don't think they're going to answer, and I just think I'm going to give up, is because the last reply I got is your long bed is your best option. And I said, okay, long bed is our best option, but does that mean you can't do a sliding camper with a short bed? I don't think I'm going to get an answer to that. So if you want to do a sliding camper, just do a long bed. And to his point, do one of the base trims because you're not going to have as many options. And you're not going to, which won't increase payload, because the idea is like, if you carry can of water, you've got to take in the weight of that in terms of your payload. So it's not like you can't say, okay, my payload is 800 pounds and then get an 800-pound slide-in camper. You're going to be screwed. You've got to have like a 600-pound or a 500-pound slide-in camper so that you can take your water and, a driver.
Yeah, my frustration with that is my dad actually got tired of me talking about it because I was so fired up about it. And he's like, what do you want GM to do? And I said, all they want GM to do is to create a slide-in camper package. You can call it whatever you want. You can charge $1. You can charge $5 for this thing. I don't care what it's going to cost. But just
charge $1,000. They will make money off of it.
No, I don't care. Just make it a searchable data metric for new consumers and used truck buyers, so that we can go on cars.com or Car Guru or wherever you want to go, Auto Trade or whatever, and you can select this option and sort trucks by whether they can have a sliding camper or can't. Now, is a sliding camper a huge part of the population? No. And the sliding camper is not that massive a deal for most people. But for those customers who really want a sliding camper, it's unfair to them to play this game of guessing whether or not they can get it or not. And then all of a sudden your truck shows up, and in the glove box sticker that's not along anywhere else, it's in the glove box, it tells you can carry the truck or not. And then you get that payload sticker, and sometimes the payload sticker for the sliding camper is like 900 pounds, which is tough to find a sliding camper that has that much weight. I ran a video on Sunday because I had a little bit more time, and it was basically a excerpt of a live stream, and because I talked about the GMC truck pricing. I went to the behind the scenes meeting with those guys, and Joe was nice enough to tell me I was live chatting and live streaming it as I going and live tweeting it, whatever.
Yeah, no, he was like literally sending me like screen grabs as the thing was going on. I'm like, okay, maybe I should be sitting on this as well.
So this is a question. Yeah, right. You should have. This is a question that comes up all the time, and it's very interesting. It says, to Joe's point about the median vehicle price, because I did like a 15-minute snippet because we and I talk about median vehicle price. The 2022 median family income is just over $70,000 versus the U.S. Census. This assumes a combination of incomes in single families and household, parents, grandparents, eligible kids. There's no way these prices can continue. In economic terms, what they won't. When that can't continue is when poop hits the fan on a national economic level. So that was very interesting. I heard this comment from many, many people who believe,
because the average transaction price of a new car right now is $49,000.
Right, and there's a lot of people that now believe that we're going to go into a recession and have a bad recession. The economy is going to collapse. GMC is going to get a bailout because truck prices are too high. And it's a very interesting debate. And I don't know. I could see both. I can see both ways.
You wrote a really interesting article about our truck prices too high.
Right.
And the really excellent point that you made in that article, and you don't often do this, so I've got to totally give you credit for it, is the fact that
you're gonna shine my app, whatever, shine my chest.
You made the point that those luxury trucks, the trucks that are costing a mint, are not the volume sellers. They're like single digit percentages. So we're talking like maybe 1,000 of those trucks out of 220,000 are being sold that are that exorbitant price. The volume sellers are the ones that are actually more affordable, and the GMC Sierra like has a base price of $37,000, which is $12,000 below the average transaction price of a new car these days. So if you want a truck, it can be had for not that crazy amount of money. But the GM and Ford and Ram and anybody else out there who makes anything with a high-end trim is pushing the limits because they're like, how high can we go? What will people spend on this? And if the volume seller is here, but they can sell 20, 40, 1,000, 2,000 of these trucks, they just made a shit ton more money.
Mhm.
And so it's like, all right, so maybe they'll only sell this much of the top tier trim, but they got to build it and they got to make it available to see who's going to buy it. And I think in that article, you totally said they're just literally throwing spaghetti against the wall to see it'll stick, and they're just going to keep pushing the limits and see what people pay. And people are paying it. People are paying it, people. People are paying it. They're paying it.
Yeah, people are paying it, and I will bring the article up so you can see it on the website, pickuptrucktalk.com. So I think let me search because I looked up the inflation rate on an old one. So let me back up this article Joe's talking about. So basically, I get a message from a guy named right here, Dan, and Dan emailed me. He says, I just had the privilege of going to fishing trip sponsored in part by GMC. They signed over two 1500s, a Denali Ultimate 3-liter diesel, and AT4X with 6.2-liter V8. So pretty high-end trucks with big powertrains. He says, what an amazing pair of trucks. There's absolutely no complaint dealing with ride, comfort, storage space, usability, or comfort. It had to be said twice for the 4 days we had them. Okay, one complaint, $83,000 for either configuration. I like them, but that is incredibly naive price level. There may be sales now, but if the market swats them, are we looking at another 2008 government bailout? I just can't see paying that much. The companies and consumers seem to be moving away from a truck and more into a status symbol. I hear that all the time. But if sales are there, I guess they can charge it. Do you see any prices? Do you see prices on new and used softening in 2023? And I don't see them softening because I actually asked GMC Vice President Duncan Alfred about that. And I said, is there a ceiling on pricing? And he goes, honestly, we ask ourselves that question every day. Like, we don't know. We keep adding more stuff to it, and you guys keep buying it. So he's like, all right.
So we're going to keep adding more stuff.
Right. And so I said, my response was, this comes up all the time, frankly, in my own driveway. I have neighbors stop by, and they often stop by, and they hop in a truck, and I show them all the features, like, oh my God, I love this, I love this, I love this. I tell them the price, and they're like, are you serious? This is ridiculous. You're out of your freaking mind. And what comes down to, in my opinion, is really about FOMO, the fear of missing out. You see these features in these new trucks, and you're like, man, I want this interior. Man, I want that leather. Or man, I want that feature. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh, that's $10,000 more. That's $15,000 more. But if you look at the numbers, for example, GMC sold 225,000 trucks last year. And if you look at the so he says that the numbers right now are single digits, but they're going to be double digits for the Denali Ultimate and the AT4X. So if you, what I say, 225 times 10%, as to Joe's point, is 20,000 units.
That's a max.
That's max. That's really not that much. They really sell a lot of SLEs. So, for example, the GMC Sierra Pro starts at $37,000. That's nearly $50,000 less than what you get in the top trims. That's the thing that I think is amazing. This truck pricing for the GMC Sierra is $50,000 difference between lower trim and upper trim. It's $50,000. That's a whole truck in the middle. That's a whole truck in the middle.
A whole truck with an upper trim level.
Yeah, and so if you look at the pricing, so the base SLT in 2008 started at $32,000. I will tell you, though, another thing I should say to this is that base SLT did not have the same standard safety equipment base SLT does today. Doesn't have the same interior, doesn't have the same overall. So I think you get more value today in the SLT than you did in 2008. If you use the online inflation calculator, the 2008 base SLT will run you $44,984 in today's money. So it's up $12,000. Okay. The Denali was $50,000. In today's money, the Denali would be $69,207 in differently. The 2008 Denali was $50,000. In today's money, it'd be $69,207. The base price for Denali today is $68,040. So in today's money, in basically both cases, the trucks are actually cheaper than they were in 2008, and you get more features. But because on our YouTube channel, on Motor Trend, on Car and Driver, on TFL, all of us, we're all showing the higher trim levels. You guys are going, oh my God, things are so
Because that's what they
expensive.
put in the press fleets.
Yeah, right. Because, and the thing is, you got to remember is that GM is like everybody else. They're going to send these vehicles out to the press fleet, the higher trim levels, because I tell people the way I think of this is look at the higher trim level and then just start deleting options. And then you end the truck you want. So it's easier for us to ignore features and not talk about them. And then you guys get, you can think about those features that apply to your truck you're shopping for. Then it is get a truck with no features, not be able to talk about it, right? That's the problem, right? So if I get a GMC Sierra 1500 without Super Cruise, I have less videos to do. I have less things to talk about, and because I don't have less things to talk about, GMC is like, we don't want to send that truck out. We want to give you everything to talk about. Even if you don't talk about Super Cruise, if you don't even mention it, it doesn't matter because you had the opportunity to report on that, and if you don't, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. And I will tell you, I've talked to some of these higher end customers who buy these Denali Ultimates and stuff, and their number one complaint to me is they can't get all the features. They still want more. I mean, I remember interviewing a guy who this guy kind of blew my mind. He had what do you have? A 2016, 17 GMC Canyon Denali, which I think the Denali Canyon is just, I'm sorry, I think it's kind of stupid, right? So it's like, it's a mid-sized truck. Why do you need to spend so much money in a mid-sized truck? Whatever. And he pointed out that he goes deer hunting in Pennsylvania and he goes hunting like, I think goes bird hunting as well. And he's like, I don't want the big truck. I can't fit down the trails. It doesn't fit my garage. I can't park it. I'm older. I don't want to turn this big truck. But he says it really irritated me because I want all the features of the bigger truck. He's like, this guy was like a former Marine. He worked service for like 35 years, retired, and he wanted to buy one truck for the rest of his life. He wanted all the features. It was this one time to just say yes to everything, and he was upset because I forget what feature he wanted, but he couldn't do. And I thought it was really interesting because I had somebody years ago say he's so mad at new truck pricing, it's too expensive because when kids leave high school, they can't go buy a new truck. And I'm like, okay, what world are you living in? Like that hasn't existed for years, but also like, the average age for new buyers is 45 to 70. That's the average age of new buyers. And those people typically have gone through life. We have kids that are a little bit older. We have the house kind of paid down a little bit. I mean, things are changed, right? So now we can afford to spend the money on a new truck. We can afford to do those things without putting us in such a bind as we used to. And so that's why those customers demand more. They want more features. They've worked their whole life. My dad worked his whole life at General Motors. He retired and bought a brand new Denali because he wanted to travel in his truck. He doesn't like flights. He can't be on a plane anymore. Claustrophobic gets to him. And he just wanted a smooth riding vehicle. And he bought one new truck in 30 years. He bought one brand new truck, and he spent every dollar he had on it. It didn't matter to him, not every dollar, but he just bought the highest trim level because that's what he wanted. And I don't blame those guys. If you spend your entire life working on a job and you're going to buy one new truck in your life, why would you compromise at that point?
Yep.
And I was talking to my cousins about this. I was driving the Silverado High Country I have, and they asked me that versus the Tundra Limited I had. And I said, look, the Tundra Limited is two trim levels down from the top trim capstone. I think it goes platinum, or you can do the 1794, then you do the capstone.
Yeah.
I'm 2 trim levels down. And I said, the thing that is crazy to me is that High Country Silverado is the highest trim level Silverado makes. And my payment difference is $100 between the Tundra and Silverado. It's $100. Like, I get $83,000, but if somebody's out there buying a brand new truck and they're going to spend 65 or 70, at that point, the $10,000 difference, it's $100.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's not the right way to buy vehicles. I know people are going to be mad at me because they're going to be like, you should never buy by payment. You should never do that. You always should buy it by the total price and look at the overall price, that kind of stuff. But I'm sorry, I sold retail for years. I sold sunglasses and TVs, and I sold microwaves, I sold refrigerators, and everybody shops by price. They just do. They want to know what their monthly payment is. I mean, majority of consumers are doing that. So, can they fit the monthly payment in their budget? That's the biggest question.
Well, and a lot of people, so like with the idea of the price is going up. A lot of people are doing 5 or 7 year loans.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we won't get into this, but I'm a bit of a Dave Ramsey fan, and I'm of the pay cash or don't get it philosophy. So the idea of a car payment at all, to me, is just like if you don't have the money to like buy that car outright, like you should not be buying that car. Which is why it boggles my mind that you have the average transaction price is $49,000 for a car. I'm like, I don't have $49,000 like in the bank in cash that I could pay for that car. Nah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
My dad financed his truck, and I remember talking about that because that was a conversation we had. But he goes, I got like he got the deal. He got 0% interest. He's like, I had the money in my retirement account. I could pull it out and pay for it. But he goes, if you're going to give me 0% interest, it's free money to me. Why not live off your money than my money? And I was like, yeah, I mean, but nowadays interest rates are blooming back up, and so it changes stuff out. But I don't know. It's very interesting what's going to happen with that as far as the overall marketplace, and we're going to see. I think we're going to see a definitely uptick in the bankruptcy around vehicles. We're going to see a lot of repos eventually. We always do. Every time the economy grows, it changes. But the other thing too is like we had Google. Was it Google, Microsoft? I think Intel just announced today they just laid. I mean, the tech segment laid off like 80,000 people in the last 3 or 4 months. So I mean, I think those people that had those good jobs, things are going well. The car took a crap. They got to buy a new car. I mean, sometimes you get a situation where it's like you have to do something. You're pushed into doing something, and then you do it, and then you lose your job. Like it's. I can see both ways of it. Interest rates are terrible right now. We're actually going to refinance my wife's car and my truck this year later on this fall when interest rates come back down. So I'll probably save a couple $100 a month, if not more. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty interesting. But it's definitely a different point of view. Like my brother just ordered a new GMC Canyon, and he's got a business, and for him, it's the same as me. It's his business expense. He's to drive back and forth. And so, like Elliot says, not only that, but $1,000 plus car payments are just wild. And I have
rent, by the way. That is rent.
I have 2, by the way. I have $2,000 car payments at the moment, just because I refuse to put money down because it doesn't help my IRS number at all. And I don't. I make a lot more money than I'm worried about that $1,000 payment. But yeah, I'm not definitely. The content I get from those vehicles outweighs the payment. But I was one day I was on a Facebook group. I'll never forget this Facebook group for the Tundra. I was clicking around and there's a post, and these guys were bragging about how high their payment was. Guys are buying 1794 Tundras at $70,000 a piece and doing 3-year loans on them with $1,500 to $2,000 payments. But thing you got to realize is a lot of those guys were oil rig guys. Oil rig guys, it's feast or famine. They can make $100,000 a year, easy. And then they go, the oil crashes, the price per barrel goes up, whatever. But those guys live rent free. They have, they're just working the job site. They have no families, whatever. They're just like, they bought a truck, paid it off. There's, those guys are loaded with money. So I think we're seeing a lot of just differences in the overall marketplace. I mean, we're seeing people that are just talking about, there's the middle class has got wider and wider, and we're seeing people that have money and people who don't have money. And you look at that GMC Hummer, and it was funny. I was talking to the Chevrolet dealership when I bought it in Fort Wayne. They were talking about the Hummer, and it's like, hey, LeBron James has one. Ashton Kutcher's got one. You know what I mean? I mean, so it's like people are like 100. How is he going to afford that? And he starts saying Ashton Kutcher, LeBron James. You say Michael Jordan. You say, and then people go,
they make $10 million a year. Got it.
You got it. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, some of these vehicles you guys see on YouTube or like we test drive, whatever. I hate to say this. I don't know how to say it, but they're not for you. They're not for you. If you're looking for a vehicle and you want to spend $45,000, you want just the base features, you don't want to spend you don't want any loan payments, you don't want none of that stuff. Those higher end vehicles, the Denali Ultimate, you're not the customer.
Okay, so I'm going to my tangent. I have something that kind of like ticks me off a little bit. When you pay
a Jill rant.
when you pay that money and you aren't getting the quality. So I recently had, and I yes, Jill Rant. So I recently had the Audi Q4 e-tron, and it's a all electric, midsize ish, small SUV, and but I drove it, and the vehicle I had was I feel like it was just more than $60,000. And it was the top tier prestige S line trim. And I was looking at this vehicle, and I actually just posted a video on TikTok today. This is the top tier trim of this vehicle, and it looked like shit. I mean, the interior was hard plastic. The seats, the texture, I mean, it felt bleh. Like, and then you look at the headliner, it was like sandpaper. And I'm just like, this is not an Audi. The interior trim of this vehicle, top tier trim, was total crap. And it's funny because, like, on one of my videos, when I said that I wasn't a fan of this vehicle, somebody on TikTok was just like, well, you're the only one who says that. I'm like, am I really the only one who says that? So I just posted out onto Instagram my photos, and people are like, I've heard that from other people. I agree with you. As an owner, and I'm like, not the only one. So, like, I am all in favor of, like, having top tier, spend top dollar, but give me the effing top tier, top trim, top dollar materials, amenities, features. I want wireless Apple CarPlay. I want suede on the headliner. I don't want seats that feel like sandpaper. I don't want hard plastic. I don't want black lacquer. I want a wireless charging pad that's not going to overheat my phone. That's what I want if you're going to give me a top tier trim. And I will say that when you look at, especially General Motors, their top tier trim, so the High Country, which you don't have wireless charging, sorry, but the Denali Ultimate, and, like the top tier trims of the GMC and Chevrolet trucks, they look like quality. Like, that I can justify spending the money. But like that Audi Q4, like e-tron, I'm just like, why? Why would you buy this vehicle? Like, I really seriously, honestly need somebody to tell, like, the range wasn't great. Like, at 77% of battery life, I was at 131 miles. I should have had 241 miles, like, at 100%. I'm just like, tell me why you're buying this vehicle. Is it just because it's an Audi? Okay, I get that. That's fine. But, like, if you're not going to give me Audi quality, like, bleh. Like, I like, that is what fired me up today.
No, and as you tell me, you're not wrong.
But I'm not right either.
No, you're right. No, I mean, my dad pointed out, he goes, the new Denali, when they came out in 2019, he goes, I like my 18 better. And that's when we gave General Motors so much crap about that. And they finally came out in 2023 with an interior that actually is a Denali interior. Like, they totally blew it. I mean, and that's when we call that stuff all the time. It's because, unfortunately, we're in a very privileged situation where we able to drive all these different vehicles and things. And so, yes, a $65,000 vehicle for us, you may be, oh my gosh, it's so brand new. It looks great. I'm a big fan of this brand, whatever. For us, it's like, we're a little bit like, hold on. I just had a vehicle last week that was $45,000, had much better seats, much better quality. Like, that's the stuff that we talk about all the time. That's what, that's why we do our jobs.
Well, and I feel like such a brat. Like, I very rarely come out harshly negative on a vehicle because most vehicles have some redeeming qualities. But like, I would say the Audi Q4 e-tron is the first vehicle I've driven in a really long time where I'm pissed off. I'm like, look at my body language. I'm like, arms crossed. I'm like pissed off. Like, that should not have been an Audi. It should not. Like, I'm going to open up my body language. I'm going to calm down. But like, that should not have been an Audi. And I know it's built on the same platform as the ID4. But the ID4, like, and I don't really love the ID4, I'll be honest with you, but I like the ID4 more than I like the Q4 e-tron. It's clever. It has some clever features. It has, like, the gear shift knob is like on the gauge cluster, which is attached to the steering wheel. It has pause play on the pedals, like for stop go. Like, it has some clever features. It has some redeeming value, and it's $20,000 less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, I mean, Jay Clark brings it up, and Eric Kessel brings up a question about heat steering wheel. But yeah, Ford XLT with a 302A, if you get the high package, it's pretty loaded, and that's what I bought the Power Boost. $61,000, lots of features, and so that's when Jill and I talk about that stuff. Like, you don't. I'll say this: when I bought the 21 Power Boost, I had the Platinum Edition, and it was like $20,000 more. I did not like the Platinum Edition. I didn't like the seats, didn't like the features, I didn't like anything about it. So yes. Yes. Can you even get a truck with a Ford truck with a heated steering wheel anymore? Eric Kessel wants to know. And you can. The 302. I had a high package had one. I mean, you have to. The Ford dealer in town, before they sold, chain dealership, I used to talk to the manager all the time, and he's like, all I do is order Ford trucks with power windows and power seats and heated seats too, and heated steering wheel, because consumers don't want base trim anymore, and the commercial operation doesn't want base trim. So you have this really interesting marketplace where commercial operations want to give their guys who are in the truck all day, or ladies, whatever, a nice, comfortable truck, and they spend a little bit more for that, $500, $1,000 more, whatever, get them more features. Then you have the really, really high trim level of vehicles, the guys who have the Mercedes-Benz in their garage parked next to the Ford Platinum, who want more features. And so it's just a really weird marketplace right now, and it's really hard to figure out like what's the right approach to that kind of stuff. Oh, so there's some question about heated steering wheel and XLT. It probably is a victim of chip shortage right now. I was hearing some conversations about it. The Chevy Silverado 3-liter diesel cannot come with max towing package, but I will tell you, it's more about maybe the Super Cruise, or more it's about the trick tailgate. You can't get the tailgate, so they can't order that way. There's some vehicles that are not available to be ordered in very specific packages and things, because they just don't have the materials to do them.
Yeah, I mean, the supply chain is still a problem. Like,
it's supply chain, it's people chain too.
Yeah.
It's the suppliers that don't have. It's not supplier parts chain. It's supply chain, like Jill said accurately. It's people. It's people on the jobs. It's parts for the job. It's the whole thing. And Fort Wayne Assembly, good example. Fort Wayne Assembly used lots of robots, and we heard this as well when we were at Bilstein. They use lots of robots. Why? They can't hire enough people. They have job openings like crazy. They can't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. I mean, the COVID, the pandemic, like, just wrought havoc on everything that was like the supply chain and putting out vehicles. And it's the people, it's the products, it's the microchips, it's the things going into the trucks. I feel like you were talking to somebody recently, and you were like, are the microchips still the problem? They were like, no, it's this piece that goes into your tailgate or something like that. And it was just like, all of these trucks are sitting on the lot because there's this final little piece that needs to go into the tailgate that they just can't get.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I want to do one more question, and then we're going to close out. I don't know, Jill, if you saw this. I didn't see the video. I saw the headline. I was going to research it, but TFL trucks reporting that the Ram heavy duties are losing towing ability. So certain trim levels of Ram heavy duties have less towing than they did in years prior. And without watching the video, I need to watch the video, and this is my fault. I need to pay more. I need to watch that video. But I can tell you that Ram, that TFL had a problem with Ram Rebel a couple years ago, because the towing capacity didn't match what they said online. And it's because Ram doesn't always have they don't always adjust their packages to match the trucks. And so they say one number, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, if you get a Rebel with the diesel, right? I think you and I talked about this in Texas, you get less payloads, you get less towing.
Yeah.
But they didn't make that clear. And the deal is with the EPA, once you say you're going to sell whatever as your high volume vehicle trim, you need to put specs towards that. So, for example, Chevrolet did this, where they took the Chevrolet Silverado with the diesel, and when they did, I think it was last year, they did the Trail Boss version, and all of a sudden it had less fuel economy. People were like, why is the fuel economy change? Well, because in years prior, they did the Silverado 1500 fuel economy across the board. But as they started selling more and more trail bosses, they had to adjust that number to be accurate for the EPA. And so I'm kind of curious if that's the same situation happening. But yes, I need to look at that as well. Something I need it's on my list. It's like written right there.
Well, like you had anything going on today, Tim. I mean, like.
Right. I had kind of crazy day. All right.
You had a day. It's fine.
Yeah. So Doug says he watched the video. Their online tool changed. Apparently, it was wrong, and Ram just recently figured it out. Yes, I can see that happening too. I mean, it's a big thing. Yes, and Eric points out GM does a great job putting the tags for towing capacity on the door frame. I agree, but they know better. They should put that in the build and price tool too. Like this whole mystery. Jill and I got to tell you, I think before Jill started working with me, she was just like, "Oh, this is great," and then I started talking about payload numbers and what truck can order all stuff, and she's like, "Holy cow, what the hell's going on with this stuff?"
And I don't like math.
Yeah.
I'm
so,
like
why they can't get the payload number specifically when you build and price on the screen within 100 pounds either way is mind-boggling to me, because they know better. They have databases, they have information. It's connecting the web guys with the database guys and talking. And before you order a truck, you should know what the payload number is, not what is stated in the brochure of max payload. You should know what the number is going to be. All right.
I'm going to say no, unless.
So hold on. So Todd, the great moderator now, Todd says, channel challenge. If we get 100,000 subs, Tim will do a vlog of him and Jill playing golf. So I will tell you this. I enjoy playing golf. Jill does not enjoy golf course at all.
I hate it. Like, I used to work on a golf course when I was in high school, and I said I would never, ever play golf because golfers are the most obnoxious people. And of course, I married one, and I'm working with one, and I'm just stuck in a black hole vortex of golfers. However, I will say, I will do this if. So Tim will do a vlog of he and Jill playing golf, and me and you running a 5K.
Is that, I mean, I got the remote. Is it the X button on the Xbox, or is it the A button on Xbox? What do I got to press? All right, I tell you what, I'm working on a lot more.
No. We're actually out running a 5K.
I will take it as challenge, because I've been working out more, and I've had, as people have known this channel, if you watched my video, whatever, talk about, I've had some medical issues, and over the last couple of years, and I'm getting better, and things are getting sorted out, and I could run. I could do a jogging 5K.
I can do a jogging 5K. Okay, so
yeah.
when we get 100,000 subscribers, you heard it here first, people. I will effing play golf, a sport that I hate, and Tim will go for a run with me.
So can we verify on the run here? Can we do it can we do it not on concrete? Is there like a dirt trail that's usually softer on your knees, or do you think is concrete better on your knees?
I mean, dirt is better, but I'm trying to think. In Chicago, like, most of our paths are concrete. So we'll have to think about it.
Okay.
We'll have to find a space.
So let me throw this back to, so Bob Pritchard's asking a question about run a 5K, Tim. So let me ask you this. Let me explain this to people that don't know. Is I used to run 5 miles at the gym quite often. I did 200-mile bike rides in my life. In my 20s, I did 100-mile bike rides. So
which I have not done. So kudos to you.
Right. So this is not something that's bizarre to me. I have done these fitness things, and I do love to work out. I just had some neck and back issues that prevented me. Now they're getting sorted out. So I'm getting back to that. So Jay Ray wants to know, well, hell, how do I subscribe a second time?
Create a fake account. No,
create a fake account. Yeah. Many fake accounts. So yeah, I like that challenge.
Or if you're in Chicago, vote early, vote often.
Jeff says, do downhill. Do the flat downhill.
Actually, that's hard on
downhill. Hard on your knees, right?
It is. It's hard on your knees.
Okay. All right. So I've done some fitness stuff in the years past. I started a business, had kids, I had some health issues, I had some stuff. So just whatever. Oh, the Trailblazer is fine. My wife loves her Trailblazer. We bought a Trailblazer for a wife to handle the kids, and people were like, "Oh my God, things are terrible. Reliability is awful." I actually looked up reliability. I can't find any reliability problems with this thing. Like, I don't know what people are talking about, but she freaking loves it. She calls it the mini princess or mini whatever she got, because she's like, I blow through snow. She goes, I blow through snow. I go wherever I want to go. It's just crazy. Oh yes, I'll be doing it on a treadmill, Doug. If I have to run the 5K, 3.5 miles, right? Is that 3.5?
3.1.
3.1. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna train. I might have my Rocky montage in the background going, but I'm gonna train. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Yeah. Anyways, I can do it. I've ran 5 miles many times and faster. I just can't. I have a health problem. For running, it's my age, Jeff says.
Well, I can tell you the vlog of me playing golf is probably going to be far more hilarious because I cannot, like, my eye-hand coordination is not ideal.
So that's the question. So like, would you do, if I'm going to practice running a 5K, right? I'm going to practice on treadmill and I'll probably go outside and have to do things, whatever. Are you going to practice golf?
Yes. I'm going to have to make my husband take me out. I'm probably going to have to get stupid effing golf clubs. Like, this is not the happy face.
I think Todd is loving this.
Jonathan's going to be like, what? What?
Right.
You have to go what? You have to go off with me? What?
I think this is great.
Yeah,
so
you have to teach me how to golf.
The gauntlet is down. So I have to run. So 100,000 subscribers should be actually, if I was doing Social Blade, which is a behind the scenes app, whatever, we should hit 100,000 subscribers by, I think, November or December this year, one of the two. So we actually should do this in Florida. We should do it in Florida.
Okay.
So 3 mile, I got to run 3 miles and you have to golf. Are we doing 18 holes? We should do 18 holes.
Look at this is the face of a thrilled person.
I'm not thrilled about running 3 miles.
Golfing, like I never want to do that ever.
I love it, Todd. I absolutely love it. That's gonna be awesome. Maybe you know what I'll do. So I think how much time do you think 3 miles takes? So 10-minute mile.
Oh, you're not running a 10-minute mile. You're cute. I would say we will probably be doing between an 11 and a 12-minute mile. So it would be between like a little bit more, like 33 to like 35 minutes.
Okay, so we'll do 9 holes because you can do 9 holes. 18 holes would take about 4 hours. 9 holes takes about 2. So it's a half. That's the only way I can do it because 9 holes or 18 holes. You can't play 3 holes, whatever. So 9 holes of golf and 3 miles. Yes. There we go.
Yeah, Jonathan's gonna be like, "What in the hell did I just sign up for?" Because like I'm gonna make him teach me how to play golf.
Oh, that's gonna be so much fun. All right.
No, it's not. It's not actually gonna be fun at all.
I'm gonna be hurting. I gotta run 3 miles. I haven't run 3.
My husband's gonna hate you, by the way.
I haven't run 3 miles in 10 years, maybe.
Okay.
No, we're not doing putt. We're not. No par 3. No putt. We gotta make it. If I'm gonna do her sport, she's gotta do my sport. All right, that's it for tonight. We're gonna do stuff from Chicago. Lots of stuff from Chicago, and should be Colorado first drive coming up as well. Yes, It's gonna happen. So lots of stuff coming up next week. So again, excuse me.
So we will not be doing a live stream.
Yeah, no live stream. Right? Yeah, no live stream around. Live stream it. Oh, we should live stream. Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'll have to get like we'll have to find like a strap or something with. Like,
I have one. I have one for my GoPro.
For your phone, you can like strap it to your chest, and I can be like, "Hi, Tim."
No, I have a GoPro mount that you strap to your chest.
I know,
while running.
But like when I'm running, like I'm actually like pretty good at like taking pictures and taking videos. So I don't know that we'll be live streaming, but.
She's always smiling. We'll do a video for all of our.
Oh, wait! I've got to show the photo.
Oh God, is it you smiling when you're running photo? Oh yes, her Wonder Woman.
This is me at mile 22 of a marathon.
Smiling. She's always smiling.
Game face. Come on, mile 22. This is what everybody does at mile 22.
Oh yes, they're not peeking in the corner. No, they're always smiling at the camera.
Smiling. Okay, sorry.
All right. Anyways, we'll there's your million-view video, running golf. Exactly. We will again. We're gonna do Chicago this week. No live stream next week, because I'll be in California, and then we'll have more stuff coming to you down the road.
Yes.
How do I put that up? All right. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for being big fans of the channel. Really appreciate all your guys' support. And like I said, look for more stuff from Chicago. And Jill and I will see you down the road.